Final, am I the jerk for cutting back on work to prove a point to my wife? She was cheating. The drug-dealing friend sent me videos of her dancing and grinding on this ugly hick-looking idiot. I am destroyed. The boys are staying with my mother for a few days, and I'm taking the next week off work. I am so done. I have never been so angry in my life. She was so smug sending it, in case you don't realize you're replaceable to her. Well, the free ride stops here. I hope she can get on Medicaid for her Suboxone. I'm done. I saved the video immediately and I'm going to see a lawyer ASAP. I can't tell anyone yet because I want to do this crap right. Thankful as hell my parents insisted on a prenup with what I at the time thought was an inhumane cheating clause. Never been cheated on before and I feel like tearing my hair out. I genuinely never thought she would turn out to be such a scummy piece of crap. I cannot handle this. I am not physically able to handle this. I haven't been able to keep food down and I drank for the first time in over a decade last night. Then I woke up and had to pour the rest down the drain because I am about to spiral, and my boys don't need both mom and dad in rehab right now. I am so close to losing my goddamn mind. Also, believe what you want, but stop sending me private messages about how I should take down the posts or that posting about my personal relationship with my wife is wrong, please. Leave me be, it will not work. This is the only place I can talk about this crap. My soon-to-be ex-wife is in the hospital after a self-unalive attempt, and I feel like a monster. You can read my other posts for more context on what happened to get here, if you like, but the short of it is, I was blind to my wife's addiction until she admitted it, and went to rehab. While she was in rehab, I was sent evidence that she had been cheating, often, and with more than one person. I have been working on filing for divorce, while she's in rehab. Not just for the cheating, but because with that on top of everything else, and myself nearly sinking back into my own addiction due to the stress of the situation, I couldn't stand to even think of her anymore, and there's no healthy relationship that has room for that mindset. I honestly didn't want to be in a room with her again, to try mediation or counseling due to the fact that the last time I was alone with her I raised my voice, and at the time even felt she deserved it. I of course now know that me doing that was terrible, and could be considered abuse, yet another reason I should not be in a relationship with this woman. I moved all of her belongings to our guest room, minus the pills I found hidden in her beside table. I took pictures of those in their hiding spot then flushed them. I also removed her from my bank account and credit cards. I spoke to my boys, explaining the situation without demonizing their mother to the best of my ability, and they seemed to understand I have no intention of abandoning them. And blood or not, they were my sons. Then she came home. The boys were, and still are away at camp, a birthday present paid for by my mother. She was quiet. Eyes on the ground after the moment I picked her up at the facility all the way home. Once we got home, I led her to the guest room silently, and she didn't take it well, crying before she could even take the first step. Throughout the next couple weeks, I let her get settled, and though I stayed carefully neutral, I know she could tell something was coming, but I wanted to be as fair as possible, and try to let her get used to being out before I said anything, as that was one thing I myself hated about when I left rehab. Everything was flying at me so fast, I didn't have time to breathe. Finally, I asked her to sit on the couch and I began explaining to her that I do not believe I can continue being married to her, and that I want a divorce. I should have known her reaction was all wrong. She didn't say anything at all, she only nodded, and cried quietly as I spoke. I explained that I did not intend to hurt her, but I could not be married to her anymore, and that maybe both of us should focus on being the best parents we can be. I told her I had no intentions of kicking her out, and that because of our prenup the divorce should be cut and dry, and she should be safe to begin looking for employment now, and once she has a job I will help her find an apartment. At this, she stood and walked to her room. I let her, because I thought she must have been overwhelmed, and this talk could wait. She didn't come out at dinner time, and I weighed whether I should leave her alone or not. Eventually, I decided to knock on the door, and ask if she was hungry. Long story short, she had smuggled pills into my house somehow, or she had a stash I was unaware of, and had an overdose, and was dead for several minutes in the ambulance, and she's in a medically induced coma, because the doctors aren't sure exactly how much damage she's done to her brain, from what they've said. I feel like an absolute monster. Like I am the scum of the earth. Like I should have just said nothing. Like I should have just dealt with it. Just held it in, and stayed. I am responsible for this and it unalives me. I may not have the same love for her as I did, but I do feel so very sorry for everything she's been through. It's unaliving me. I haven't told my sons yet, and I am debating waiting until they're back from camp, so they can have a little more time without this on their minds on top of everything else.